Welcome to the world's most exciting podcast, Group Chat After Dark. Once again, we're waiting till the very end of the month to release a show, but it's not our fault. February's a short month, so it was really whoever made that rule.
Why is that a rule?
I don't know. I don't know who decides how long the months are. Why wouldn't they just all be equal?
I guess it's probably the same guy that created daylight savings time. He's just
Probably.
in there like, how are we gonna make people's lives the most miserable as possible?
You like a 30-day month? Well, guess what? We're cutting a few days off this one for no apparent reason.
And then every other couple of years, it's even shorter because fuck you.
Yeah. And then like every 7 years, we'll give you an extra day.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think we're approaching spring now, so we have some things to look forward to. The groundhog did see his shadow back in the day, so I think we were supposed to have 6 more weeks of winter, but it's been pretty decent. So I'm excited for a change in the weather. I think pandemic 2020 has crested and fallen now. Cross your fingers. So it's an exciting time, especially for the podcast, as we explore different things, especially our sponsorship options that we have out there. Yeah, going right to the ad read.
Jumping right in.
That time of year. Yeah,
came
right
to play
after,
today.
Gotta get those paychecks. So today's episode is sponsored to you by Scrub Daddy. Scrub Daddy is one of the top selling products on Shark Tank. I don't think it's number 1 anymore, but here we have it in live and in color. Scrub Daddy.
If you watch the podcast on YouTube, which you can do, you actually get to see Scrub Daddy every time we read one of these. It just sneaks in somewhere.
Yes, he's around.
Still in its original packaging, so it's worth a lot more money.
If you get it cold, it's a hard scrubber. Hot water makes it a soft scrubber. It's multifaceted. The new kid on the block these days is the damp duster from Scrub Daddy. You can get it slightly wet and dust, and it will attract dust. So instead of having to use that little fluffy thing from the company that we won't talk about, you can make sure that dust gets picked up and then rinse it off. So check it out. It's the damp duster from Scrub Daddy.
I need to check out the damp dusters. You see, I have a curio cabinet full of collectibles back here.
Yes,
it gets very dusty.
So you should. And when you check it out, make sure you use the promo code GCHAD, GCHAD. You'll get a grand total of 0% savings on your order. Just click the microphone in the top right corner, type in the promo code, and you'll be good to go.
Well, that was a very professional ad read, once again, for a company that doesn't really sponsor us. But I think they should take notice. We should start tweeting some of these ad reads to them and be like, look what we're giving you for free.
For free. Your whole audience of 7.
Could you imagine if these 7 people were hearing a paid ad read, how much effort would go into it? Because obviously we're very on top of this all the time.
Well, let me ask you this. What would be the first thing you would clean with your Scrub Daddy once you take it out of the packaging?
Oh, I don't know. I'm afraid I'm not taking it out of the packaging.
It's mint.
Yeah. It is mint on card, which I believe is what they say. And it's I got a little crease here though. There's a little crease on the, so that's gonna damage the grade, I think. But I don't know. I don't think I'm ever gonna open this one. This one is a collectible. Hence why I keep it in my case back there.
You need a scrub mommy with a daddy caddy.
Yeah. Yes, I do. Because they have a whole family of products. We're still waiting on Scrub Uncle.
Scrub Uncle, yeah. You only get to use him like once every couple of months because he gets lost otherwise.
He comes in out of nowhere, gets the kids all jacked up, and he just leaves.
Oh God. So what's it's still February, so we're still on track. What's our topic this month? I don't remember what we talked about 10 minutes ago before we decided what we were going to talk about today.
I know that you're really good at prep work and all that, because we always, like say, our prep work for the show is unparalleled. Just keep that in mind, Scrub Daddy.
We really take a lot of effort and
Yeah,
put a lot of research into these episodes every week.
really do. We really do. And I feel like not a lot of podcasts do that. So for this month, since it's been winter, everybody's been cooped up. COVID has been ravaging the world once again. We've been watching a lot of TV to pass the time. And Mr. Magnum and I decided to discuss our favorite guilty pleasure TV shows, because everybody talks about what's good. Oh, you got to watch the show. It's the best. Everybody has the best show for you to watch. Even whether you ask them or not, they're going to tell you what the best show is. I don't necessarily today want to talk about the best show. I want to talk about the ones that you don't tell your friends about. You don't advertise. You know what we like to watch? You don't tell people this because you might be a little embarrassed. It's a guilty pleasure show. So I think we've got more of those now than ever, I feel like, because there's more networks, more airtime to fill, and with the onset of reality television, reality, which basically means cheap to produce. There's more of this guilty pleasure type stuff than ever.
Non-union actors.
Yes, everybody, all these actors that have been looking to make it big and can only get chalupa commercials are now your Real Housewives of so and so and
Fargo, North Dakota. Yeah.
Yes. So here we are. We're going to talk about guilty pleasure shows.
That's exciting. I have a few. I'm excited to share them with the world. I have a few,
but they all come from the same rotten apple.
Oh, so Lord.
Yeah, there's 3 shows that we like to watch that are all spinoffs, basically.
Mine are old, but they're still good. I think we'll have a good conversation about it.
I want to save our picks, much like we did for our New Year's resolutions. I want to go through some of this stuff and save our actual our personal guilty pleasure shows. I want to save those towards the end. But I do have a list, if you'd like me to read a list of the 10 best guilty pleasure shows according to Reddit.
Ooh. Also, I would like to know what the first reality show was. Is it Survivor?
I think it was The Real World.
Oh.
I think MTV was the first, and I could be wrong. That's like the earliest one I remember. So
we're going to do some Googling while you're getting ready to pull your list.
I've got my list ready.
The first TV show to regularly feature members of the public as its stars was in 1948. See if you can guess it.
Oh shoot. I got nothing. I there's a show I'm thinking of, but I can't remember the name of it.
It was originally called America's Candid Camera, later to be just called Candid Camera.
Candid Camera. Okay, that's not what I was thinking of. Because I recently found a clip of Colonel Sanders on a show, the actual Colonel Sanders, who started KFC before it was a nationwide chain. And they're asking him all these questions. It's like celebrities asking a Joe Schmo questions about their job, and I can't remember the name of that show. Anyway, I was thinking that, but that was probably much later than Candid Camera.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go.
Yes, for all you Gen, or whatever they call you now, Gen Z. What's the next one? Yeah, one of those.
I don't know.
That's a show where they used to put a camera inconspicuously in a place, and then they would play a trick on you and then point at the camera and say, you're on Candid Camera.
Smile. You're on Candid Camera.
Kind of like the far inferior version with Ashton Kutcher, Punked.
Yeah. I think the Candid Camera pranks were much more good-natured than
yes,
being punked. Or it's like, haha, your whole family's dead. Just kidding.
Gotcha. Yeah. Punked was its own thing. So
well, I think definitely though, for the modern era of reality television, The Real World is what ushered in what we now know as reality TV.
Sure. It's time to stop being nice and start getting real.
Yeah. It's a story of 7 strangers. So I've got a list here of 10 shows that this is a Screen Rant article where they pulled their information from Reddit. So
ScreenRant.com. Shout out Screen Rant.
Shout out to Screen Rant. So got 10 shows here, and they kind of run the gamut of older stuff, newer stuff. The first one, number 10, is a show called Rules of Engagement, which
Wow.
I have
I have
never
seen
watched.
that show. It has
It's
David
got-
Spade.
Does it have David Spade?
I think so.
It has the guy that played David Putty from Seinfeld in the little thing here.
Patrick Warburton.
Yes, Patrick Warburton. This sitcom isn't considered one of the most hilarious or unique, but fans like watching the characters. Two couples in serious relationships, one engaged and one married, and two pals who aren't in relationships. So it sounds really lame.
Yeah, I think it was one of those CBS burner shows where they just made a million episodes of them.
A mid-season replacement.
There you go.
All right, number 9. This is a show I have heard of. It's called The Secret Life of the American Teenager. It ran from 2008 to 2013.
Yes.
And
that one had Aaron Rodgers' ex-fiance in it, I believe.
Oh, Olivia Munn?
The other one. The one from Divergent. Shailene Woodley.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's news to me. I don't know, other than being an American teenager, I don't know. The thumbnail is a young girl looking in a mirror holding a pregnancy test, and she looks shocked. So I'm assuming
that is the premise of the show.
Oh, it's a fun guilty pleasure show about Amy, who learns that she's pregnant while still a high school student.
Yes.
So there you go. She got knocked up. Moving on to another.
You don't watch enough ABC Family or whatever they call it.
I do not. ABC Family is no longer a thing. It's Freeform. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, Freeform. Apologies for using your.
The only time I watch Freeform is during the 31 Days of Halloween when they run Hocus Pocus nonstop.
Oh, jeez.
Gossip Girl is number 8 on the list.
People still watch that?
Well, it says it ran from 2007 to 2012, but I believe HBO Max revived it.
Oh, okay.
I think it's new because I keep seeing stuff on HBO Max about it. This one is a compelling story about there's a typo here. A compelling story about absurdly rich kids with way too much power living and partying in the city.
Wow.
That does sound fun.
No, it does not. Because they're probably like 29-year-old actors playing 18-year-olds.
Well, yeah, of course. There's a whole category of actors, and I heard it on a podcast not too long ago, and I think they call them play young or something like that, where that's their whole gig is they look younger than they are, so they play parts 10 years younger than their actual age. So that you get categorized as an actor that can play young. Number 7 on the list, Married at First Sight. This is our first reality show in the list.
Yes, I did watch briefly watched that.
Okay.
Yes, it ran on the A&E network for a few years.
Well, it says it's still going. Started in 2014. It says it's still on, and this article is from February of this year. So
there you go. Yeah,
it must
it
still
was
be
pretty
somewhere.
stupid. Yeah.
Yes.
Basically, these people get together and they've never met, and they get married, and then they basically end up finding out they don't like each other. And then
it says in each season, the final episode features a decision day as the couples choose if they will split up or remain married.
Yes.
So there you go. Apparently,
Seems
people like that.
Stupid.
This says it was a Lifetime show, and you can stream it on Hulu if you are so.
Aha.
Yet another reality show at number 6 is Love It or List It.
That's not a reality show.
That's reality. It's people buying homes.
Okay, I've seen many episodes of that one.
Yeah, it's always on at the dentist when I go to the dentist. They have a TV
in the ceiling. Yeah, that's nice.
And it's always on.
It was always Fixer Upper at my dentist, but now I don't.
Well, it could be Fixer Upper. TV. It's one of these shows where they're running around looking at houses, so that's how I classify it. I'm not even going to go into Love It or List It because everybody knows what that is. It also says it's been going since 2008, so that has been around a while.
Yes,
still going.
Yes, and they have a spinoff called Love It or List It 2 TOO.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Number 5 on the list is Storage Hunters, not Storage Wars.
Not Auction Hunters?
No, was it Storage Wars? Storage Wars is one that I kind of got sucked into when it first started. And it was these people going around auction, at storage unit auctions and buying stuff, seeing what they could find. This is storage hunters, and these people look much trashier than the like think Dog the Bounty Hunter, but trashier.
Okay. What do they do?
Well, they
hunt for storage units?
Reddit user Silent Purd loves storage hunters and wrote, "I cannot seem to stop watching it. I just love the anticipation before they open the lockers." So it sounds just like Storage Wars, but I guess somewhat different. This one, it ran from 2011 to 2014, so it is no longer actively in production. But somebody will revive it, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, probably one of the streaming apps.
Yeah,
Fubo or something. Yeah.
Number 4 on the list is a show that my wife watches, and I cannot stand it. It is really annoying, and it's not a reality show. It is a scripted TV show. It is called Scorpion.
Wow, that's kind of a deep cut for number 3 on the list.
It actually is not as old as I thought it was. It ran from 2012 to 2018. I thought it didn't run that long, but it's in the last few years it's gone off the air.
It has Finch from American Pie in it, doesn't it?
It does, and it is. If you've never seen it, it's about a bunch of nerds. Think like NCIS or any of those shows, except they're all really nerds. And they solve the world's problems with science and math, things like that.
Oh man, that sounds exciting.
There's always a bomb. There's always some really complicated problem that they have to disarm this bomb, or they have to stop something from exploding. There seems to be a lot of explosions, but so there's action with nerds. So it's like Big Bang Theory meets one of those NCIS or CSI type shows. It's very much like those two things kind of mushed together, and it for some reason just really irks me. I don't like that show at all. But anytime I'm not in the room and I come back, my wife has put on Scorpion.
I was going to say my wife loves the procedural, so it's it starts. There's a problem. They're trying to figure it out, and then they solve it all in 30 minutes.
Yes, this is an hour, so yeah, it was rough. Moving on from this show that I really don't like. Number 3 on the list is Gotham, which I'm assuming it's guilty pleasure because it is based on a comic book.
But I guess. I watched that for a little while for the first couple seasons. I thought it was pretty good, actually.
I watched a couple episodes, couldn't get into it.
It's not it's not terrible, and it's not something I would like actively choose to watch, but it was okay.
Yeah. And of course, if you don't know, it is about Batman before he was Batman.
Yeah, it's a origin story, kind of pre-origin story even.
Pre-origin of like a lot of the
villains are in there too.
Yeah. And its description says, no matter how corny or dull it can be, it still counts as fun and entertaining guilty pleasures.
Interesting.
All right, number 2, now we're cooking, is The Real Housewives of New York City. It's been running since 2008 as well. And there's like 14,000 spinoffs of this.
Yeah.
There's a Real Housewives of pretty much every major metropolitan city in every state, I'm fairly certain.
I've never watched any of them, so.
No.
And if you enjoy people yelling and fighting, I guess that's your thing, but.
And isn't the whole premise that they're very affluent?
Yes.
Because of their affluence, they're very trashy.
That's why they are housewives. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's always been my impression, just looking at stills or seeing clips, is a bunch of rich women all pretending to like each other, but they all really hate each other.
Yes, that's exactly. I think you're spot on.
Yeah. And I get that from a still, like the picture here, the thumbnail. I can tell that the 4 women in this photo all hate each other, but they're pretending to be really good friends. And there's copious amounts of alcohol on the table. So
there you go.
And number 1, I am guilty of watching this show, but it is not one of my reveals. It is This Is Us.
Wow, that's guilty pleasure, huh?
Apparently, I was kind of surprised, but according to Reddit user King O Flint 282, he said that This Is Us is a bit sappier than what I usually watch, but he and his partner are emotionally invested in the show. So
I was going to say, I've heard it called emotional porn.
yeah.
Because every episode is designed to make somebody in the audience cry.
Yes.
So yes, no, I felt the first 2 seasons of that show were excellent. Then it jumped a shark very quickly.
I'm still in it. It's in its final season now. I'm enjoying it. I'm interested to see how it's all going to end up. We kind of know how it's going to end up, but I don't know. There's a few pieces of the puzzle that they're still revealing, but we are in the final season of this show, so it'll be interesting to see how it turns out. But yeah, my wife and I do enjoy This Is Us. Yes.
We got out of it. I felt like whatever the episode was where you found out how the dad passed away.
Yes.
Probably it's like the Michael leaving the office episode. That should have been the finale, I feel like.
That did it for you? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Well, I could see that, because I mean that's that is the big mystery for the longest time, is he's no longer with them. You know that he has passed, but you don't know what happened. So yeah. And they did that, yeah, I guess season 3 maybe.
Yeah, it was they had the Super Bowl that year, and they made it relate to the Super Bowl.
That was their big reveal. Yeah. So, but anyway, again, it is a show that I enjoy, and but I'm also not terribly upset that this is the final season, if that makes sense.
Oh, I think especially in America, TV shows go on entirely too long.
Yeah, I feel like this one will probably do well when it finishes. As far as it's still very popular, and it hasn't gone on for 14 seasons, and everybody, it's a whole new cast and a whole new, like most other American shows do, where everybody has to leave because I just can't do this drivel anymore.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's your top 10 list, according to Reddit, which I feel like is not really journalism.
It is the front page of the internet.
And we got people, and they all single out, like, one Redditor wrote this. Well, that's not really a poll of these are the top 10. This list should be called, these are 10 guilty pleasure shows that we found on Reddit, not
these are 10
best
from single users.
Yes. Yeah, because there is all one Reddit user in every one of the descriptions that's credited as saying it's their guilty pleasure show. So there you go. Take that with a grain of salt.
That was informative. So I have a question that's been said while you were reading the list that was prompted by something you said earlier.
Okay.
So every year the MTV does the challenge with Real World and Road Rules.
Yes.
What the fuck is Road Rules? I've never seen it on TV.
Road Rules, I can remember it being a thing around the same time as Real World. I never watched it, but it was basically it was like the Real World, except they were on the road and had to do challenges.
Okay.
It seemed like they were in some sort of and I could be way off base on this, but I seem to remember they were in like a bus or something. They were all living and traveling together. And there was, of course, the drama when you put people in the same living quarters. But it was also exacerbated by the fact that then they had to work with these people to complete challenges each stop or whatever. Each week was a different stop, and they had to do a list of challenges to get back on the road. But again, I never watched it. That was just my impression from many, many commercials that I used to see back in the 90s.
Yes. So, I Googled it, and none of the people stand out here. So it must have been a super great show. But anyway, there you go. That was weird. Yeah, road rules. There you go.
Since we're talking reality TV, I've got another article from Distractify here that talks about why people like reality TV. This is experts weigh in on why people are so obsessed with it.
What makes them an expert? They have the word expert in their Reddit username or something?
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
I'm a real one. Basically, just going to give you the bullet points here. Reality TV viewers live vicariously through the reality shows.
Okay.
Which I could see. Sure, you're not having these crazy experiences. Here's a tweet that says, "I love trashy reality TV shows." So obviously it must be true.
If it's on Twitter, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No one has ever lied or spread misinformation on Twitter ever.
No, never, or anywhere else for that matter. Reality TV can promote healthy discussions about human behavior is another point they're trying to hammer home. And I'm assuming it means by displaying terrible human behavior.
Yeah, I
then
guess
you can have a healthy discussion about how to actually behave. Or I think basically what this is getting at is watching reality TV makes me feel normal because I'm not insane like the people on TV.
Except they're scripted characters.
Yes. Reality TV is heavily produced as far as that, the situations are all synthetic. The people themselves are real, but if you don't believe that reality TV is fake, do you really think that there's a camera crew with these people to catch all these crazy things happening 24 hours a day? Because there's
there.
not.
Yeah, they're just
all those
filming
guys
constantly.
All those guys on the crew are in the union. They're not working 1 second longer than they have to, so they got to make all this crazy stuff happen during the time they're working. So just think about that if you're really leaning in on, no, it's real, it is real. No, it's not. It's a TV show, and you know what's really boring? People sitting around getting along. So you got to make them. Conflict is what sells any kind of, whether it's literature, television, whatever it is. There has to be conflict. So reality show is just a constant conflict. Think about it. If you've never thought about it, there's always drama.
And also reevaluate how you're looking at things that you're seeing in your life.
Another point this is trying to make is most people who watch reality dating shows know exactly what they're getting, which I understand. It's familiar. It's
comfort.
Think about how popular like The Bachelor is and has been for however long. I know somebody who their group of friends does a Bachelor fantasy league.
Wow.
I don't know how it works, but it's similar to like fantasy football. And The Bachelor is the premise of it. So I guess they draft different girls or different guys depending on which version they're watching. But anyway, that's the level of popularity in which The Bachelor has achieved, is that people do fantasy leagues based on it.
Wow.
So that's saying something.
There you go.
Yeah, it's familiar. The formula. They're not, and I'm sure it's one of those that every now and then they mix up. This season, everybody's blind, like something to try and make it a little different. But basically, people want the tried and true. This one guy dates 40 girls, and then
this year it's underwater.
Yeah. This year, only one guy speaks English.
Didn't they do a show like that where all the girls thought that this guy was like super rich, and then at the end they're like, this guy's just a regular dude?
I think there is. I feel like I've just recently seen an advertisement actually for a show like that where it's like, this season there's 2 bachelors and one's rich and the other one's not, and it's up to you to choose. And it's like, oh, okay. So you don't care if he's a nice guy, you just want the money.
Yeah.
But again, they're all actresses and actors looking for their big break. So there you go. But anyway, that's about all I've got as far as
straight off the gram.
Yeah, straight off the gram.
Well, then I guess we're to the segment where we get to introduce our favorite guilty pleasure TV shows. But a late breaking item in the world of guilty pleasure / reality TV that I want to talk about, that I watched literally like last week, the Tinder Swindler.
Yes.
Have you seen this?
We watched it recently. I think we watched it last week.
Simon Leviev, he's crazy. If you haven't seen it, this is a spoiler alert to turn the podcast off, so you don't lose the premise. And I'm going to give you 30 more seconds here before I start talking about it. So you've been warned, and don't accuse me of spoiler alerting the fact that Howard Wolowitz goes to space.
And spoiler alert, and to further extend your time to get out before we reveal anything, I will say it was fascinating, so it was worth watching. My wife put it on, and I was like, "Really, we're gonna watch?" And I was in. I was like, "This is nuts. This is crazy," and it gets crazier. So if you haven't seen it, get out now. But it's highly recommended.
All right, so we spoiler alerted the internet, the small segment of the internet that doesn't watch Netflix. But essentially this is about a people that meet on Tinder, and this guy looks really, really cool, really rich, really interesting, and so these women meet up with him on a whim. He's like, hey, come to this hotel and we'll have a cup of coffee or whatever. And they get there and he's like really affluent looking, and he's like in a really expensive hotel, and then he whisks them away to his private plane and they fly somewhere, and then it kind of unravels from there. Different things happen to the girls, and with him there, he's attacked by some sort of government because his father is a diamond miner.
His enemies is that's what kept cracking me up, is it was always his enemies that were attacking him.
Yeah, his father owns one of the world's biggest diamond enterprises, and so he's really, really rich. Come to find out, he's not rich at all, and he's basically pulling the wool over the girls' eyes, but they've fallen in love with him over these encounters, and so he extorts them for money by saying that the enemies have forced him to put his bank accounts in a freeze.
Yeah.
And
his
taking all
entourage they've told him, you can't use your credit cards, you can't use, because they can track you, your enemies can track you. So he needs immediately $20,000, $30,000, and it's like, just whatever you do, got to take a loan, do whatever you can do. I have to get this.
For this.
Yeah.
And so like, and it turns out he's done.
But he also promises that he'll cut him a check for even more.
And he does. He writes him a check.
Yeah.
But it bounces. It never cashes.
Never clears.
So turns out he's done it to like 6 people or something crazy like that across Europe, and that he is just some guy from Israel.
His name is not actually Simon Lviv.
No, it's something else. But it's Simon something. Or
it was something very similar. It was like whatever his name was, the Simon was like the Western version.
Yeah, it's the Yiddish version.
Shimon or something like that. It was something I can't remember now, but yeah, he has like a different first name. It was close to Simon, but it was not.
And so he's just a random guy. The women conspire with Interpol to catch him, and they end up catching him, but he only goes to jail for like a week, and then he's back out.
Yeah, it was a very short time. He got sentenced to, I can't remember, a few years or something, and he serves like 6 months.
Yeah.
And he's back out, and he's doing it all again using the same name.
And now I found that he now charges you up to $20,000, and if you pay him $20,000, he'll come hang out with you at a nightclub.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Cool. So we should book him for this podcast.
We should. We can get his cameo. He'll be on. We'll ask him. What were you thinking? Have you ever used Scrub Daddy before? The important questions.
Yes. But basically, he extorts all this money and then uses the money that women send him on other women that he's also extorting.
Like a Ponzi scheme for dating.
Yeah, because he also woos these women by sending them very expensive gifts, like giant bouquets of flowers, and does all these all these big kind of grand gestures with money to get them hooked, basically. And they all say that they're not really in it for the money, but it's kind of his whole shtick.
Yeah. Well, like that's the thing that got me is like, okay, so you say you're not in it for the money, whatever. Oh, his cameo is only $200.
Well, that's not bad, really. I mean, it's actually outrageous for a cameo, but still. Because of course he's on there.
Yeah. They say they're not in it for the money, but like, why are you only going after this guy? Like,
well, especially because his hook is, it's always, he whisks them. He's like, I'm in town, and they swipe right on him, and the MO is get him to a really fancy hotel. He makes him wait a little bit. He comes down looking all sleek from the penthouse, so they're kind of already mesmerized. And he's like, I gotta go close this business deal, but won't you come with me on my private plane? Like all this within hours of meeting them. Yeah. And they're on a plane across the world, and they're like, wow, this is
the one she texted her friends like, "Hey, I'm doing this," and they were all like, what?
Yeah.
No. And she's like, YOLO, and did it anyway.
Yeah. They're like, you don't think you're gonna be killed or anything because it's just a guy you met and now you're jumping on a plane. Like, they're like, no, it's fine. Which, in his defense, he didn't kill anybody. So
yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
My favorite part though was that every time he was attacked, it was the same photo of his bodyguard.
Yeah.
That had been attacked at some point. So I guess they were out and he tripped and fell and bonked his head or something. He was getting some stitches. And so he would always text him in the middle of the night and be like, Peter's been attacked. I need help. My enemies. And it was always the same thing. Yeah. Yeah.
You can't call me. We can only text. And here's a selfie of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
In this heated moment.
It was always very interesting to see. But anyway, and it's who knows how many, but the best part was his story gets out there and his face gets plastered all over the internet and he's still trying to actively extort one of these women. They're like, no, they're making this, the whole thing's made up. And
and she's
she ends up
going to be hooked. Yeah.
She wants him to get caught by Interpol, so she ends up going along with it. And she, at one point, they go to a plastic surgeon and he wants all these things done. And the plastic surgeon was like, no, only criminals want something like this to change their entire face. And she's like, I always spit my water out because I'm thinking he is a criminal. That's why he wants this done. So, but all the while she's under the giving off the ruse of she just believes everything he says. So
yeah,
it was fascinating. It was worth watching. And it's not a something they drag out like a multi-part documentary series. It's just one. Yeah,
it's a 2-hour long movie.
Yeah. So it doesn't drag it out too long. It tells the story in the time it takes to tell the story rather than going back to reality TV, kind of drawing out the drama.
I felt bad for that girl that was from Norway or whatever. She got screwed pretty bad.
I mean, what is that, like $150,000 in loans? And she's still, and there's
no, to pay it back.
She can't pursue any legal action because she willingly gave the money away.
Right.
So
and it was the loan was in her name, so she has to pay it back. Yeah. That's
very sad.
All right, so we're okay. So I guess if you're out there looking for something, you're trolling Netflix, check out Tinder Swindler. It's pretty popular, so if you haven't seen it by now, you suck. But we're at the time. Let's reveal our guilty pleasure TV shows.
Okay, you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
Yeah, I have several. So the first one is an old one, but it's a good one. And Ben's gonna know what this is once I say it to the internet here, but it's Unsolved Mysteries with Robert Stack.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one. I think I've seen every episode now, but it's good. And my favorite episode of Unsolved Mysteries is they're explaining this crime that happened, and the police are trying to figure out who the suspect is, and they're questioning this guy, and it's very clearly someone in makeup that is playing the part of the actor, because the person accusing folks of crimes got two people confused with each other, and so she actually wrongfully got the wrong person convicted, and they flipped it once the other person admitted, but it was somebody in blackface on television in 1987, 88. Was not a good look, but it's very clearly obvious. Google it out there, you'll find it out there on the internet, but not a good thing. But that's Unsolved Mysteries has some pretty corny reenactments if you're looking for some interesting TV acting. But fun fact, Matthew McConaughey got his start acting in an Unsolved Mysteries reenactment.
No kidding, I did not know that.
Yeah, he plays the son of this lady who gets murdered by a guy that drives down their street. He's out cutting the grass, and the murderer shoots him in the chest and then drives and crashes his car, and they catch him. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, check it out. Unsolved Mysteries. Only the Robert Stack version. The Dennis Farina version's trash. Yeah. It's just the Robert Stack version with Dennis Farina hosting instead of Robert Stack. I don't understand why they did it.
What drives me nuts, because we put it on one day and it was one of those episodes, and like all his like interactions with the camera are with this like crime lab behind him of people like pretending to be working on and taking tips and searching. I'm like, come on, really?
They're taking tips on cases from the 70s.
You see back
2000.
here, it's not just me talking about what's going on. I've got a whole team of people back here in this crime lab working on this case right now and other cases. No.
Give us a call. I do want to shout out the research team for Unsolved Mysteries that was updating those cases from the 70s, like into the 2000s. They kept with it and would just add a little blurb about what happened. Like, so-and-so is now passed away because they're old.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's number one. What's one for you?
Well, like I say, mine all come from the same Rotten Apple, and that Rotten Apple is a show that comes on We TV, if that tells you anything about how far down the dial it is.
Wow. Women's entertainment television.
We love a show. I used to joke when we would see it advertised, we'd see commercials for it, and I would tell my wife, "Oh, that's going to be your new favorite show," and be like, "Don't be ridiculous." And then as a joke one night, I put it on or something, and we both got hooked. And that show is called Love After Lockup.
Wow.
And if you have not watched it, which some people may have, most people probably not, it is about people, not women or men, both, that date people that are currently incarcerated through the many different apps that you can do such a thing that exist these days. And they develop these relationships with these people, and once the inmate in the relationship is released, they're followed to see how the relationship goes.
Wow.
Which then couples that were on Love After Lockup, if it's still ongoing after that season ends, there's another show called Life After Lockup, in which you see the couples that were on Love After Lockup. Now they're on Life After Lockup. Of course,
there's a spinoff. Yeah.
Of course, there's a spinoff. And this year, they just launched the third spinoff, or the second spinoff, that's just called Love During Lockup. Ooh. Which kind of follows the process of them meeting these people and all the way through. So actually, this past Friday was the end of the first season of Love During Lockup, which leads up to the next week's season premiere of the new season of Love After Lockup. So we don't really get to miss any of them. They're just going to keep coming year round because the shows all lead into each other.
Wow.
Yeah. And it is, I mean, like that tweet
terrible.
From the article, it is so bad. It's awful, but we love it. We only watch it every other week.
And I feel like all of their relationship problems are scripted. Like, oh
yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's interesting just because kind of along the same lines of the Tinder Swindler, these people will give thousands of dollars to the inmate to put on their books.
They pay, yeah.
So they can get things at commissary, and they can do, they can do video calls, and because they need the money for these things in prison. They of course have no way to make money, so they spend thousands of dollars on their inmate. Wow. And then sometimes they meet up with them when they're out, and other times they don't. They're just like, nope, thanks for the money. Peace.
See you later.
See you later. But it is scraping the bottom of the barrel of this type of entertainment. But it is so trash, and we don't watch anything else like that. So we get so kind of mesmerized by how bad it is that we can't get enough.
That's pretty low. That's pretty low.
Like I say, we end up watching it. It comes on every Friday night. We don't watch it every Friday night. We watch something else between. So we watch it this week. We won't watch it next week, and then we'll watch the week after, because they run all the episodes back to back leading up to the new episode. So we'll watch 2 hours worth of it once every other week, and that kind of gives our fill. And then we're like, okay, we'll come back to it later. So
wow. That's a surprising one. I did not expect you to go there.
It is not something we talk to people about. So now it's out there for the internet to know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, my second one and my last one is pretty well known now, but it's Survivor. Yeah. The OG. Yep. Survivor. It's a good one. You get to see people fight on an island. And usually something really stupid happens. But now they do a lot of stuff with immunity idols and boring stuff like that. So it's not as good as it used to be.
When the first season aired, my mom and I got into it. I don't remember how old.
Yeah.
I was an adolescent, because I guess I was a preteen around that time, and so that I would still sit and watch television with my mom, and we got really into Survivor, and we watched a few more seasons of it, I think, but I haven't watched it for many, many years.
Well, there's like three seasons a year now. So yeah, they're on like season 40 or something.
And are they still all hosted by Jeff Probst?
They are, yeah. Jeff Probst is still the host. He's the ageless wonder. He does not age.
I was gonna say, he still looks the same. Last I saw him, anyway.
Yep.
So fascinating. Well, there you go. Maga likes the Survivor.
What's your second?
Well, that's really all we got, because they come to, and I get, like I say, technically, I guess I'm on the list of guilty pleasure, top 10 guilty pleasure with like This Is Us.
Yeah. What about like Jerry Springer and like that really trashy stuff? Like, where does that come on the list?
Yeah, I found some other lists. I was like, oh, IMDb has a list of these. Cool. I'll go with that one instead of the Screen Rant. But then I found out it was a list that an IMDb user had made. And I was like, well, that's not really any better than what I was already looking at. But Jerry Springer, that one was a lot more reality trash TV based than like the Screen Rant article. But there were also like 50 choices. So I was like, I'll do maybe 10
the
from
father.
This. Yeah, exactly. So, which incidentally, we went to high school with a guy who was on that show in that segment.
He was not the father.
He was the father, and he was very excited about it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Well, there you go. Well, yeah. I think, I think just remember, if you're looking for a father, Scrub Daddy's always out there for you. Just use the promo code GCHAD. But I think we've done our fill of trash TV and guilty pleasures. Let us know in the comments what your top shows are, because we have so many listeners. We want to know what's out there that you enjoy.
Yes, we need some new stuff to watch, because like I say, Love During Lockup just ended its season, so I need something else to watch.
Yeah, that's a tough one to top.
It's tough.
What about Life After Lockup? Is it over as well?
It'll start Friday, the new season.
Got it.
With new couples and whatnot. There actually is a couple from Love During Lockup that is going to be on Love After Lockup.
Nice.
And then it'll be interesting to see if they can pull off the trifecta and then be on Life After Lockup. So,
boom.
I don't think anybody's done that yet, since the Love During Lockup is the newest show. Nobody's pulled off the trifecta of the WeTV, the unholy trinity.
Well, stay tuned. I'm sure you'll have updates for us every week.
I will. Well, it'll be every other week.
There you go.
We don't do it every week. It's too much. We try to watch something high class in the off weeks to kind of.
Speaking of high class, I'm David Pumpkins.
Oh.
Any question?
And he's gone, just like that. He is a master of the segue, I'll tell you that. Not like transitioning from one thing to another. I'm talking about the actual like thing that you stand on and roll around, like take a city tour. He's brilliant. Very uncoordinated on his feet, but on that thing, he's like a duck to water. Anyway, thank you for joining us once again here at Group Chat After Dark. Oop, farted a little bit. It wasn't me, it was the dog. But anyway, if you want more of this high quality content, just like me saying that I farted, you can find us at ridethatdonkeyproductions.com. Get all our short films there. If you want to watch this podcast instead of listen to it, you can watch it on YouTube or at groupchatafterdark.com. You can also catch us at dukehouston.com, which is just a random domain we own, and then toddsux.com, which is another random domain we own, but you'll learn about why Todd sucks. And then you can buy like shirts and stuff with our logo on it, and they're not going to be good quality, but they're going to be good fun, and you'll be supporting a local business because we're local to here. So anyway, you can also find us on all the socials, Facebook to Twitter, Instagram. No TikTok though, because we're a little too old for that and not hip enough, and it sucks. So all that having to say, join us next month on Group Chat After Dark. And I really messed up my sign off, because normally I say we'll catch you next month on Group Chat After Dark.